Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some Standard. I'm a little bit giggly because I've just started recording the gameplay for today's deck, and it is a Standard deck, but I actually jumped straight into Ranked, and I'm 2-0, and I don't know what to do with the footage now. Because, you know, it's beating decks in a format that it shouldn't be beating them in. I don't know if that means the deck is good or if I'm just lucky. But, you know what? Let's get into the deck tech, shall we? So I decided I wanted to play around with some mill today, and that's exactly what I did. So we've built ourselves a blue-black mill list built around Teferi's Tutelage, Maddening Cacophony, I guess, and a Ruin Crab. 3 of the mill enablers for this deck. So Ruin Crab has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. Also have Maddening Cacophony as well, a 2-mana mill 8. If this spell was kicked for an extra 4 mana, then it mills half their library rounded up. And then Teferi's Tutelage says whenever you draw a card, you mill 2 cards, essentially. So those are going to be our payoff cards, our engine pieces, I guess. Those are going to be the way that we actually win the game. Other than that, though, we're going to be trying to take control of the board state as best we can with removal. So we got Bloodchief's Thirst, destroys creatures or planeswalkers with converted mana cost 2 or less. If you kick it for 4 mana, then you can kill anything. Drown in the Lock cares about the number of cards in your opponent's graveyard, sorry, and at that point you can counter or kill anything that you would like. Heartless Act kills anything without counters on it, and Eliminate does kind of Bloodchief's Thirst things, but at instant speed, so got a nice little split there. We got the Jwari Disruption as well, a 2-mana counter spell to counter unless you pay 1, but it's also a land drop as well, so that goes nicely with our Ruin Crab and also making sure that we hit our land drops on time. Got Anti-Cognition in here. This counters a creature or planeswalker. I think creatures, importantly, are the ones that we want to be countering, so I'm hoping that Anti-Cognition will do some decent work here. It's a counter unless they pay 2, however, if they've got 8 or more cards in hand, which takes a single Maddening Cacophony to enable, then it's just a straight-up hard counter that also gives us a Scry 2. So to enable the Teferi's Tutelage, we've got a little bit of card draw as well. We've got 4 ops, 4 Frantic Inventories. Frantic Inventory draws cards and then draws additional ones based on the number of Frantic Inventories in your graveyard. So draws 1, then draws 2, then draws 3, so on and so forth. Extinction Event as a little bit of a go-wide strategy. Not sure if it wants to be more than 2, to be honest. But, you know, odds or evens, we get rid of probably half our opponent's board in one shot. The rest we can clean up with removal spells. And then finally, a Seagate Restoration. It is an untapped land if you pay 3 life. However, the other side of it is a really powerful sorcery with Teferi's Tutelage. 7 mana to draw cards equal to the number of cards you have in your hand, plus 1. And then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So whatever our hand size is gets doubled, and each of those card draws triggers the Teferi's Tutelage, hopefully, and we can do some pretty decent stuff. So mana base is pretty simple. It's going to become simpler. I'm getting rid of the Castle Vantress. It's disappointed me in the 2 games that I've won. It honestly nearly lost me games, so I'm cutting it. Yeah, we got the Pathways in blue and black, which is kind of nice. They're like basics without the land type, and you can choose whichever side you want. It's basically the best land to ever come to Magic the Gathering, I think. Short of, I guess, fetch lands, but, you know, that one has some negatives associated with it. I'm not sure that the Pathways necessarily do. We got Fabled Passages in here, a full 4 play sets, because it does actually count as 2 land drops with Ruin Crabs, so if you can hold on to your Fabled Passage to play some Ruin Crabs first, then by all means try your best to do so. Got 1 Temple of Deceit. Probably don't even need it, to be honest, but it's in there. 4 Swamps and 2 Castle Lockswains to draw cards to trigger the Teferi's Tutelage again. So that's been the really quick deck tech. Without further ado, let's get onto some actual Standard gameplay and see if it thrashes people in Standard like it just did in Historic for some reason. Alright, let's get to it. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, let's have a look, see. I don't think this is keepable. I think the mana just kind of sucks a fat one. So, yeah, I'm just going to throw this one back. See if we can do better. It's not much better, but it's keepable, I suppose. Got Teferi's Tutelage. I'll get rid of one Frantic Inventory. I'm sure we'll shuffle it back in later, and then we'll play our tapped Castle Lochthwain here. Say hello to our opponent. Wherever the hello button is now. Okay. Well, play the island. Pass the turn. Blue-white so far. Shrines, I guess. Fair enough. Shrines do have a lot of card draw associated with them, which will definitely not help our opponent out in any way. Now then, double colors. I don't think I have any, so let's just go with... I think I might go with blue for multiple card draw spells in a turn. Ooh, a Ruin Crab. These Eliminates and the Heartless Axe aren't going to be all that useful either. Short of, like, maybe a Kenrith. I don't think we're really going to be able to catch any creatures from our opponent. This is standard after all, so... They don't have the green Hondan that makes spirits, nor would I want to be using single target removal on 1/1s, if I could help it. Ooh, another Teferi's Tutelage. I think is actually the right play here. Get that going so that we're milling 4 per draw. And that's nice. We're going to go with probably just the Heartless Act at this point. Mill 4. And I'll go with the Temple of the Seat with the plan of... Yeah, bottom that. Plan of playing Ruin Crab with the double Fable Passage trigger. And then we've got the Opt for the double Tutelage trigger as well. There's Sanctum of All. So they are underway. They will not want to play any of their blue Sanctums. They've got Banishing Lights in their deck as well. But we can go Ruin Crab, and we can get a little bit of value out of that before they board wipers. Yeah, Shatter the Sky, finding its way into the deck. But now into the graveyard, where it belongs. We'll go with more blue, I guess. Mill another 3. I guess we could have gone with the Opt first to try and find another Ruin Crab before we thinned. I was thinking more that I didn't want to draw a land and tried to reduce the odds by thinning the deck. Looks like that didn't work out. Okay, so they get to go grab any Sanctum that they want here. I dare say not many of them are going to help. They could go get the red one, I suppose, which can shoot down the Ruin Crab, but they're still getting milled by 4 every turn. And they're over halfway through their deck at this point. You really want to play Sanctum of Calm Waters? Now that is fascinating. Perhaps they've got a Thassa's Oracle in their deck, which I would like to mill over, given the chance. Somehow I doubt that they've got Thassa's Oracle in there, but... Ooh, did they just Fable Passage and whiff? I think they did. I think we milled over all their basics. There's only one island in there, but... This does look like a pretty greedy mana base to me, and they've already cultivated out a couple of basics as well. So yeah, Sanctum's going to want to discard to take out the Ruin Crab. This doesn't hit face, right? Creature or Planeswalker, no. Okay. Well, we can go Swamp, we can go Lochthwain, draw. And there's a Maddening Cacophony, which at this point, I'm thinking I might just fire off as is. Yeah, I mean, it's 8 now, or it's 8 with a kicker, so... Let's just take those 8 off the top. 8 cards left. They could draw 4 with Sanctum of Calm Waters if they wanted to. Or draw 5 at this point. Whirlwind Denial. Yeah, I think they're just about done. They got to beat me in 2 turns, or have a Thassa's Oracle in their hand right now. Gonna go for black. I don't think they can 17 me, but who knows? Idyllic Tutor. Searches 2 cards for a Banishing Light. 1 tutelage is enough to mill them over on my draw step. And the fact that they've just thinned basically guarantees that they're dead. Ooh, will they top or bottom that last card? They're going to bottom it. Alright, so it's going under itself. I would say, yeah, it was a pretty solid game. I don't think Sanctums has a particularly good matchup against Mill. I suppose if they got their Banishing Lights early and we didn't have any excess tutelages hanging around, then, you know, they could have durdled their way into a victory with the Black Sanctums. These can certainly take over a game relatively quickly once you've got, like, your Sanctum double triggers going, but in general, I think we probably ruffle stomped this deck quite handily, but good stuff. Okay, let's have a look-see. We have turn 1 Ruin Crab, but it does force us into playing a tap land on turn 2. It looks like we're up against a Yorion list that may or may not use creatures, so it's a little bit iffy as to whether or not these will be useful. I'm sure they'll certainly not be needed early on, so I'm going to keep this one. And just kind of hope that Ruin Crab and Tutelage gets us there, to be honest. At the very least, we know we're going to be able to play Tutelage nice and early. So yeah, we are against a Boreon Sky Nomad list. So we'll just have to see what happens here. My guess is something degenerate and rampy. Sultai. Alrighty then. Chances that they'll play a creature. Not high enough, I don't think, that I want to risk not playing Teferi's Tutelage next turn. Wow, they are very anti-creature. That's good. So is another Ruin Crab. I think I'll get my Ruin Crab on before I play down my Tutelage, just in case it's counter magic. I know they've got like creature removal in their deck, so let's just get it out of them now, I guess. And they do have Gilded Goose, but we now have Anti-Cognition as well, so we can counter creatures, and at this point it is a hard counter with a Scry 2, which is going to do us a lot of favors. I'm really growing on this card for sure. I just wish it wasn't so restrictive on its card types. Uro. No. I'm just going to take it for the Scry. A Temple is fine by me, I would say. I don't really need the Clearwater Pathway, though. So we got a Tutelage for a Mill 2 and a future card draw aficionado. And then we're going to get rid of probably Blood Chief's Thirst, I want to say. Yeah, I don't think I want to be destroying Uro. I want to be exiling Uro if I can. And then we'll go for a Temple, Mill 6. We have obviously fueling Uro here, but I think deep down that doesn't really matter if our opponent is dead. But we got a long way to go because it is Yorion after Yorion after all, so we're gonna have to see how we can get on. As I said, I don't really expect these Ruin Crabs to live on very long. In fact, it looks like they're just kind of eating a Heartless Act at this point. Our opponent's passing, which is mind-boggling. I think we'll go with a draw first, in case we find a Ruin Crab. We didn't. And now it doesn't make much difference, the order in which we do this. Just make sure to get as much value out of that Tutelage as we can while we can. Another Tutelage and a Drown in the lock is very good. Yeah, Fae of Wishes. Send a message. We're not to be trifled with. You would imagine that an 80-card deck is definitely up there on worst possible matchups, so I mean, let's see how that goes, to be honest. They've got Uro mana now. So they're going to go for that. If I draw a land, that's going to be really good. It means I can Extinction Event, trigger Ruin Crab, and then hold up and Drown in Lock for a future counter spell. We did get that as well. Which is pretty sweet. I actually don't know how much I care about Uro just yet, though. I feel like I could probably go for a tutelage first and be pretty happy about that. We've already made our land drop, right? Yeah, we did, I think. Either way, I want these 2 cards anyway. My memory's been completely shot recently. I don't know why, but it has, so... 28 cards, alright, we've got them to the normal halfway point. And, yeah, I think I'm just going to let them hit me. I think it would be real miserable if I was to use this Drown in the Lock on an Uro for them to just then Ugin me, for example, or kill my tutelages. I'm fine with them killing my Ruin Crab. That doesn't matter too much. I think we've got alternative sources. We know they've got Mythos of Nethroi as well. Yep, you can go into your sideboard. Pick whatever you want, I'll counter it. They went with exile up to 3 enchantments. And that's pretty good. Except it's gone. Well, we got a mill 4. We got a Fabled Passage trigger. Another land drop trigger. Grab a swamp here so we can activate the Lockthwain. Grasp and Peer. Wow, this is a spicy meatball. Just more lands, mill 4. 13 cards. Yeah, just pass the turn. I will block Uro at this point. Opponent draws. We block, hopefully. 11 cards remaining, milling 4 every single draw. We've got a draw off the Lockthwain guaranteed. Opponent's got Ugin. Surprise, surprise, we lose. Well, I think actually we might have stood a chance without the tutelages, to be honest, because we have this Maddening Cacophony that's milling 8 here. That's a thing, alright. Sorry? I did click sorry. It says oops, but good game, I guess. Ooh, pass the turn. What is going on? This is the weirdest day of all time. It's truly strange. They got way ahead of themselves on that Ugin. They clearly know what they're doing with it as well, because they've purchased this wonderful card style that you can't read the top left of. But, yeah, I guess that's how it do. That do be how it is. So what's the reason for it being a Yuri on deck except for wanting to play 80 cards? I guess there's like, you could flicker Uro to kill it. You could get Llanowar Visionary to draw a card. There's too many spells in here really to make good use out of Yorion. Wasn't Emergent Ultimatum getting you either. It's only permanents. It's a Fae of Wishes. It's a Fae of Wishes. A Gilded Goose. It must be in hand. I don't know what they could have, but Ultimatum seems very trash in that deck. Gonna put it out there. But next game. Okay, let's have a look, see what we got. We're on the draw with the turn 1 Ruin Crab, but it will force us to play Temple of Deceit on turn 2, which leaves us doing essentially nothing. I guess we could just, like, Temple of Deceit, Ruin Crab, Island next turn. I guess that also makes sense. Without an opt, it's not going to make much difference either way, though. But I'm going to keep this one. It's got removal. It's got mill. All of those things seem kind of useful. So I guess since Ruin Crab's not getting a landfall trigger on turn 1 regardless, we should just go with the Temple of Deceit and... yeah, actually make a 3rd land drop sounds good to me. That will work. Alright. Opponent passes with 2 mana open. This is probably like the rogues list, I guess, that's been running around. And we'll just lead off with the islands. Don't know whether we need the swamp or the island until much later on. The main vein drain. Okay. So it's like a blue-black control list then, maybe? I dare say it's going to be hard for us to resolve a Teferi's tutelage, but if we manage to do that... huh. Get rid of the 2 cards that seem to not matter, I guess. If we manage to resolve one, I feel like it's going to be relatively difficult for our opponent to actually get them off. So let's just do a Teferi's tutelage, get that into play and see what we can do. Frantic inventory. I will put that in the yard, actually. Makes the future ones pretty decent. We don't really need it at the moment. We've got a mill 8 and we've got another tutelage that I would probably just drop down next turn, given the chance. Discards 2 cards. Well, opponent's tapped out. Drown in the Loch. Now then, we did just see an Ashiok go over. So it's tempting to hold up and drown in the Loch. I feel like I probably should do that. I wonder if Deliberate should be in my deck as well. It's a pretty decent card, actually. Yeah, I think I've got to hold up in my Drown in the Loch. It's not going to do me much good if I'm tapping out every single turn. We've already got, like, a mill engine going, so... let's kind of try and keep it in play, I guess. Can always get down to Teferi's tutelage on, like, turn 5, maybe. Alright, well, stop it. Stop it with this discard. Now we got nothing better to do. It's Fabled Passage, best land we could have drawn, actually. Let's get that down first. Teferi's tutelage. It's another land, basically. Mill 4. Yeah, it's basically Ashiok that's the main issue at this point. We'll grab a swamp, so we've got 2 of each mana source at least. Opponent's deck is definitely built just to beat creatures. It is not built to take care of what we're doing right now. Alright, a 3 mana killer 0/3. It's pretty good when we draw pathways. We're going to keep that in hand in case they've got another inscription, I guess. I guess I could check. The inscription made like 9,000 times, so... let's see. 1, 2, 3. There might be one left. I don't think they're duressing me, right? Or did we see... no, we didn't really see one. It's just lots of discards. I guess I'll just play my land. Lock me a Serpent. Alright, they have a Clock. We have a Lochthwain. Mill 4. There are 17 cards. 15 cards. Going down a little bit more. Heartless Act would be nice if we had more black mana. So I guess there's potential that our pathway decisions were incorrect. I don't know. It seems like it's a bit of a mystery as to whether or not you could predict this exact scenario occurring. Extinction Event is actually really good. They're at 6 cards. I'm just going to name evens because they've got a 6 and a 2. That should pretty much kill all chances they have of winning. Can start sacking lands if they want to draw cards, yeah. That's what I want you to do. Digging for counterspells, maybe? We've seen Ashiok's Erasure. And that's it, actually. Even, please. Wouldn't surprise me if they did have, like, a Jwari Disruption or an Anti-Cognition in their deck, since, you know, they're making me discard. It's kind of easy to counter based off of graveyards at that point. It's a weird list from our opponent, though, for sure. And, well, they're dead just on my draw step alone. So they got 0 cards. We'll make them put half of 0 into their yard, and the game broke. My opponent exploded. What's half 0? I don't know. I don't know. Alright, well, this deck's pretty sweet. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's doing me good. Okay, we're in. We do have a 2-lander here, but it will cost me 3 life on turn 1, which can be pretty gross against a aggro deck. We could always just play it tapped. Yeah, I guess we could always just play it tapped. Since I don't think Drowning in the Lock's really going to do too much. It's basically, we can go turn 1 Crab off of the Sea Gate in order to have Frantic Inventory open for turn 2. Which could enable a turn 3 Teferi's Tutelage if we find the land drop. We are on the draw as well. Maybe I'll give that a shot. I guess, yeah, depending on what color they end up showing us depends on how I play that out. And looks like... Well, this becomes a 2-3. I'm going to pay the life. 2-3, and I've got a 0-3 to block it. May come back to bite me, of course, if they've got any removal, but... I'm going to block a decent amount of damage, hopefully. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, this is probably the first loss then, without a doubt. Does not seem like a great matchup in any shape or form. This aggressive is pretty bad. So we are going to Frantic Inventory. Oh, good lord. Frantic Inventory, we're happy with any removal, basically. Yeah. Game over. +1/+1 I think you can do, right? Oh, it's only to itself. Fair enough. Yeah, this is going to be the quickest non-game in Magic's history, I think. We get to tutelage, but then we're dead. Yay! Probably taking 7. We'll get rid of Jwari Disruption. It's not going to disrupt nothing. Nothing. Can now counter 2 drops with our Drowning in the Lock and kill them, so we have removal online. Get rid of the Intimidator, I suppose. But... gonna need an Extinction Event off the top here. We can do pretty decently. But, yeah, it's gonna require some serious RNGesus. Here we go. Nope. Never mind. Alright, let's just see what we would have drawn then, I guess. Oh, you have got to be kidding me! I hate Magic the Gathering. It's the worst game ever created. All it does is make me feel bad. Next game. Okay, turn 1 Ruin Crab with Fable Passages to constantly trigger it. Seems pretty decent. It's a shame that this hand doesn't really allow for a Jwari disruption early on, but we'll give it a shot. Opponent's going to go with a Lovestruck Beast. Okay. We will have Anti-Cognition open for Lovestruck Beast on turn 3, right? 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 You wouldn't do me like that, would you, game? You wouldn't do me like that. You've done me like that. Eh, well. Well, we can probably just, like, drown in the locket anyway, so it's not the end of the world, I suppose. Landfall. Alright, we've got Primal Mites to kill our Ruin Crabs here. Gonna go grab a Swamp. So we have our other side of our deck enabled. We've got the Opt as well. So we can do some good stuff. They're at 6 cards now in the graveyard. So Drown in the Lock should counter essentially everything in their deck. They might have the mythic 7-drop land thing. That's basically it that will stop us. I'm going to go with a Scavenging Ooze. Okay, got to be careful with the Scavenging Ooze. It will become large, and it will also interrupt Drown in the Lock as well, since we care about the amount of cards in there. I don't think it'll affect us too much, because, you know, we are gods of top decks, and a Blood Chief's Thirst is pretty good. Frantic Inventory. So there's a lot of creatures in there. I don't know if I can really afford to kill the Scavenging Ooze just yet, though, to be honest. I don't really care about their life totals, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. I can hold up and Drown in Lock and now Jwari Disruption as well. Let's grab some blue. Mill another 3. And yeah, I think I just want to stop further creatures entering the field here. Well, I can't disrupt the Lovestruck Beast unless they've got another one and they go for Heart's Desire first. Or maybe they go for Scavenging Ooze, I don't know. Alright. Gonna grow the Skoos. Skoos officially grown. Creature you control fights. Alright, fine. Destroy Scavenging Ooze. It's a pretty big blowout, I'd say. Got a card out of them. Killed the creature we were planning on killing eventually anyway. Maybe they've got... I think there's like a 1-mana instant speed fight spell, I'm not sure. They can gain 1 life if they think it's relevant. Which, at this stage, it isn't really. The life total certainly isn't. It's not even a consideration for us. Okay, so I'm just going to have to go with Island here, mill for 3, and then we will, I think, pass the turn with Disruption and Anti-Cognition open. Plan on then going for a Frantic Inventory if we've got mana left over. 5 mana. I still think we can get this, but we're not gonna be able to pick and choose what we counter. It's basically going to be the first thing that taps them out we will have to get rid of. As sad as that may be. Anti-Cognition, though, is a hard counter for creatures and planeswalkers. Creatures being, like, their primary thing in this deck, by the looks of things. It is very much green stompy. So we can get rid of that. And I think we will, because it also opens up a Scry 2 and makes this Frantic Inventory a little bit more powerful. So we only needed 8 cards in the yard for the Scry 2. Maddening Cacophony. I think I would much rather have Castle Lochthwain first. Means I can do Teferi's Tutelage and then hold up in a 2-drop. I think I'll still go for the Frantic Inventory, though. Can hold up in the Disruption. Alright, mill 3. Lovestruck Beast, Scoos, little bro. Go for a toot. Toot toot. We're at 31, we're over halfway now. I will get rid of the Opt. If I draw a land off the top, Maddening Cacophony's kicker is going to be pretty dirty. In addition to the Landfall and Ruin Crab as well. So, to be honest, I'm almost thinking that... Ugh. Maybe not. I was almost thinking that I just kind of count unless you pay one pretty much anything they play here. But QB, first creature getting in. Got a Cacophony. I'm just going to make the land drop with the Disruption now then. Trigger Ruin Crab. We'll do Blood Chief's Thirst to kill Questing Beast. It's probably up there on biggest threats that they have. And it's sorcery speed, so we kind of need to just, like, actually use it. Gem Razor without Mutate. This is a human, so they can't mutate onto it. I think that's why they're hovering their things right now. I don't think it would have made a difference, though, to be honest. I think it's past the point of Tutelage getting killed, mattering. Another Tutelage. So, this is an 8, but for 2 it's... Oh, sorry, for 6 it's 10. So it's not really worth it. So I think I'll just go with Teferi's Tutelage. Clearwater Pathway, we'll discard, mill them for 4. Yeah, I found that most of the time when Cacophony comes up with a kicker potential, it ends up not being that much more milling in total. And in fact, like, the next Cacophony is just good enough on its own, so even if they manage to, like, double Gem Razor here, it's not going to be good enough. Six cards left. I have a mill 8 in hand. That being said, without kicker, this card is still very good as a mill option, for sure. It's not the most powerful. There is a modern playable Demir card, which is like blue and black for mill 10 for 2 mana, which is much better. And double Gem Razor. There you go. Called it. Opponent's going to be real sad that that doesn't matter. Oh, did we... I think we double targeted the wrong card. I think we... They probably figured they don't stand a chance anyway, which is certainly true. And I'm gonna just make that very obvious with backup Tutelage. I won't BM them by playing the Cacophony though, because they are just dead here. There we go. Damn, dude, this deck is sick. It's popping off. It really got raffle stomped by mono red, I won't lie. But everything else seems to be just slow enough for mill to really take over. Removal-based mill for sure. I'm kind of interested in checking out, like, blue-red mill. We've played that one on the channel before, I think, though. And that one's all about getting Tutelage down and then just drawing as many cards as possible, really leveraging Teferi Tutelage. This is more of a slow the game down, make your land drops to mill, have a good mill value card, counter, kill, you know, that kind of style of deck anyway. And I do very much like this one. You could also do like an exile-based mill as well, but at that point you wouldn't be able to use things like Drowning Lock, because that cares specifically about the number of cards in the yard. So while Ashiok is... Actually, no, Ashiok is rotated. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. I'm still getting the hang of what's in standard, to be honest. It's taken some getting used to for sure. I'm liking standard though overall. I think it's a lot better without War of the Spark. I think everything's better without War of the Spark. My life is better without War of the Spark. I got a pack. Let's open up a pack. It's War of the Spark. No, it's Zendikar Rising. Let's have a look, see. Do we get anything of note? That is the best card in this set. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In fact, we got 2,000 more gold. Let's check out as dailies, and then... Dailies are... horrid card styles. Alright. Fair enough. 1, 2. I have good luck when I open up packs on video, so I like to do it. We're getting another mythic ICR as well. Ooh, baby, that's a good one. I opened like a 45 card bundle, and then I opened, I think, another one as well, and I barely got any of the pathways, which is really sad, since they're kind of like playset of whatever deck that they end up in. So they're kind of required for any deck in Standard these days. And here is lithoforming. I had an idea for this card as well, so stay tuned for that one. I'm sure it'll pop up soon enough. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well for more content like this in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.